Welcome back to Mobility Insider. I'm your host, Morten Handelsborg. Today we're going to talk about this car. This is the BMW i5 xDrive M60, the top of the range of the new 8th generation BMW 5 Series. The 5 Series was always one of the key models for BMW. They have 3 key models. It's the 3 Series, the 5 Series, and the 7 Series. And of course today they have a number of other models, but this belongs to the core for BMW. They're producing the car still in Dingolfing, and that's since 1972, the same factory in Germany where the 7 Series is built. It plays a key role in the executive segment, where you also find competitors like the Mercedes E-Class or the Audi A6. And recently, when you talk about electric cars like this one, the competition also includes Tesla Model S and to some extent Lucid Air. So there's something interesting about the model strategy of BMW, because demand is very difficult to predict and every market is different. So what they have done is to build a platform that is so flexible you can fit diesel engines, petrol engines, hybrids, plug-in hybrids, electric cars and even fuel cell vehicles on the same platform, giving them the chance to fit the car to each individual market. And that is a big advantage compared to Audi and to Mercedes, because they have special platforms and strategies for electric cars and for ICE cars. At Audi, you have to choose between the models to get the different powertrains. So if you want to have an electric car, you will buy the Audi e-tron. If you want an ICE car, you will buy, for instance, the A5 or the A6 with a petrol or a diesel engine. The i5 M60 is a very powerful car. So you get, of course, 4-wheel drive. You get 2 motors. Up in the front, you get 261 horsepower. You get 340 horsepower in the rear. That gives you a normal output of 517 horsepower. And in boost mode, 601 horsepower. And that's enough for a top speed of 230 kilometers per hour and 0 to 100 in just 3.8 seconds. This is a really nice car to drive. It's also a very substantial car. It's 506 centimeters in the length. In the width, including mirrors, it's 215.6 centimeters. It is heavy, but not as heavy as some of the other electric cars that you can compare it to. It weighs 2,468 kilos, and that makes the car actually drive nimbly and very sporty despite the high weight. One interesting fact I did notice was that the total allowed weight of the vehicle is limited, and that only gives you enough weight in the vehicle with 4 passengers and about 100 kilos of luggage, and that's a maximum you can put into the car. That's a bit on the low side. And this top-of-the-range xDrive M60 version of the i5 costs you in its base version 123,900 Swiss francs. And with the options fitted on the car, it will take you all the way to 149,110 Swiss francs. And if you put that price in relation to some of the competition, well, the Mercedes-AMG 53 4MATIC, which is comparable to this one, will cost you about the same. But if you look at Tesla Model S in the Plaid version, which has more power and more range, that is about 50,000 Swiss francs less than this car. And even the Lucid Air, which I think can be compared, is 15,000 Swiss franc less. So I think BMW is certainly pushing the price strategy to the max here. The battery has 81.2 kilowatt hours net capacity. The WLTP range mentioned and tested by BMW is between 455 kilometers and 516 kilometers. I don't think that will be easy to reach with the car. With the consumption, you would expect about 20 to 22 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. You're not going to get more than 350 to 375 kilometers with a vehicle. And I think that is a very limiting factor, and I don't think it's good enough for a car in this price range and in this category. But enough about the car from the outside. Let me tell you how the car drives. The first impression you get when you drive the vehicle is that it's almost like a suit. It's tailored primarily to the driver. I'm sure the passengers are fine as well, but this is a driver's car. And what BMW has tried to do is to make sure that everything is centered around the driver, so you have access to the information in front of you, that the seats are really comfortable, and at the same time they hold you firm when you have a bend at higher speed. And they have succeeded in doing that really well. In the car there's a feeling of really high quality, but it is not really one of luxury, it's more one of technology and sporty design. The materials chosen by BMW obviously are very high quality, but they have cut a few corners, I think. Let's say on the dashboard on the top where you have the loudspeaker and ventilation, it does look a little bit cheap with all the stripes and the circles. And other parts of the car are hard plastic or semi-hard plastic. So it's not a luxury vehicle like they had chosen for the i7, which is totally up there with the best luxury vehicles. That's not the case for the i5. It's more like a sporty vehicle. But overall, it's fine. I think it suits the vehicle. It suits the type of suspension and the concept of the i5. It's a car for younger people, for the business executive who's driving the car himself or herself, whereas the i7 is a chauffeured car for many people. So it's fine. I like the design, I like the touches, like the red stripe here on the steering wheel, and it does fit the car really well. Now here on the highway is where the car really feels at home. It's got a lot of power even in normal driving mode. And what you have is the boost mode, which is activated here on the steering wheel. So you press the button, you get 10 seconds of full power, and it is massive, the power that is developed, 601 horsepower in an instant second. And this is where the car feels home. It's competent, it's fast, and it really likes these long highway drives at a high pace. Now, if you use the power, of course, the consumption will also increase. Under normal circumstances, you can expect 21 to 22 kilowatt hour consumption per 100 kilometers. And if you go very fast or use the power, that will easily climb to about 30 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And I think this is the issue I have with the car, because the battery is only 81.2 kilowatt hours, and with a consumption that climbs close to 30, obviously you're gonna have less than 300 kilometers of range. And I think that is contradictory to the concept of the i5, because this is a limousine that should be able to take you on long trips at a high pace. And if you have to go and charge every 200 to 225 kilometers, that's going to be a nuisance. So I think that's something that is difficult for this car because it doesn't deliver one of the key attributes you're looking for an expensive limousine. I think what the car needs is a bigger battery. It should be 105 to 110 kilowatt hours capacity net. But obviously you have to keep the weight of the vehicle down. That might be a challenge because a bigger battery also weighs more. So two things where BMW are leading this segment is the voice control. It works really well. It really picks up the commands precisely, and also will give you a receipt for what the system is changing. And the second thing is the drive assist system in the BMW. It is, in my opinion, the best around, better than what Tesla offers. It's more precise. It's helping the driver, but it doesn't take control of the vehicle, which sometimes is the problem with some of the other systems, and Teslas in particular. So this is where BMW does a really, really good job. The drive assist software and the hardware works really well, and the voice control is top-notch. That brings me to the final verdict for the i5 M60. First of all, the car looks really great. It's elegant, it's classy. Second thing positive is that it drives really well. It drives like a proper BMW. It's firm, it's sporty, very competent. And the car is well built as well, as you would expect. On the negative side, there are a couple of things, and they are particularly important when we talk electric cars. First of all, the range, for my liking, is too short. you get about 300 to 325 kilometers of range. And this is an executive business limousine that should be able to go long distances. Second, the charging speed, I tested it to be 36 minutes from 10 to 80%. And again, for this kind of car, I think that is just not good enough. That is a bit too slow. So the combination of the battery size gives you the low range and the slow charging when going on long trips. And on top of that, you have a very high price for this car. It's 149,110 Swiss francs. And that is just not the right combination for me. And because of that, I've decided to give the i5 3 stars out of 4. So it's a 3-star verdict for the electric version of the 5 Series. But if I were to test the petrol version of the 5 Series, I would very likely give it a significantly better rating than 3 stars, because all the negatives you have with this car would be eliminated. You don't have the range issue, you don't have the small battery issue, you would even have a lower price as well. It's a 3-star for the electric version, but the car in itself is excellent. Thank you for watching Mobility Insider. If you know someone who would benefit from seeing this video, please share the video. Please comment below and don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.